So in this section we're actually going to make the pickup pen. So to give you an example of what I'm talking about, that's this. Let me switch it, which is used to pick up the parts using a vacuum. And what I'm using here is a very simple syringe. I've hacked in the vacuum pipe into it, and then we have a dispense tip here which has been bent at an angle so that I don't have to come directly onto the part to pick it up. I can come up at an angle, which is a much more natural way of using it. So step one, we need the syringe. Okay, and this is a special syringe. It's got what they call a lure lock. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, but the lure lock and the plunger is already in it as well. We're going to remove the plastic part of the plunger. Here we go, and actually push our piping through here. Okay, and so and then that'll go back into the body of the syringe, and therefore you create a vacuum in the main pipe. Now in terms of the actual dispensing tip, we're actually going to use two tools for this. Actually going to use a small pliers for there, and then the larger pliers here. And hope like heck this works. Basically, I'm going to bend very gently, and there we go. Sorry, yeah. So bend very gently, and the key here is that you don't press on the metal enough so it actually closes the pipe. But there we go. We immediately have, here we go, a dispense tip that I can hold like a pen to pick up and down. So the key now is to actually add the pipe to go through this rubber tip. So I'm going to take off this. Everything's eventually here, and I'm going to pierce this with a small hole and feed the plastic pipe through. So first step first, I use my tweezers because they're very sharp. If I try and fit just a square end through this little hole, which has virtually disappeared on the rubber grommet here, I'm not going to have much success. However, if I cut it at an angle, let's see if I can do this properly without hurting myself. So you can see now I have an angle. I've got more of a chance of getting this into here. So let's try that. That goes through. Nice little bit of pressure, and you can already see it's starting to come. I'll grab my pliers, pull a little bit more. There we go. On the rubber grommet itself, or grommet, a stopper, whatever you want to call it, will actually give a little bit, and voila, and there you go. So let's give this a little pull, move it along the line a little bit, and I'm going to take this now that it's got the plunger on it, push this into the pipe, a bit of a push, and voila. We now have a seal at the top here, no air can go in or out, and the vacuum is delivered through the pipe. So in theory, if I now connect the end of this to my to the modified aquarium pump, and let's make sure we have some parts to experiment with. Hear that? I should be able to pick up components very, very easily. Now the problem is I can't stop the vacuum, right? So what I need is some switch method to do so. One of the ways we can do this is taking advantage of one of these little T adapters again. So what's going to happen is we're going to connect to our vacuum on one end, and we're going to connect out to the nozzle with the other, and then this point is going to remain open. And what we're going to do is we're going to close it with our finger when we want to apply a vacuum. So step one, let's cut some more of the pipe. And this time again it's a square cut. And what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to cut enough so that it crosses my body, because I want the nozzle in my right hand and then the control in the left hand. And I plug one end in over here, and the other end in over here. And I now have vacuum coming from these 2 points, right? So I then take my new nozzle. That's this guy. This is the connector to my nice new nozzle I've created. Plug that into the other end of this, and then by some very clever laws of physics and aerodynamics or fluid dynamics, whatever it is, essentially the vacuum's pulling here. It's easier for the vacuum to pull a natural pressurized air in through this point rather than down at this point. So when I try and pick up the parts with this, nothing happens, right? I haven't activated the vacuum through down to the host of this. See, I can tap these resistors back and forth very, very easily. Now if I apply the vacuum, and I do that by switching this on, I can then pick up the parts, drop them. I'm not going to really drop them from that higher point, but it means I can pick up, drop down. Alright, so so there you have it. We've modified the pump to make it a vacuum. We've created the nozzle. We've done that by bending the dispense tip, modifying the plunger, and I've added an inline switch, if you will. And that's it, you're ready to roll. Total cost, about $10 for the pump, $3 in pipe, about 50 cents for these dispense tips, and about not much more for these syringes. You can use any size syringe, 3 milliliter, 5 milliliter, 10, whatever suits your use. But until then, good luck with your surface mount projects. I will be busy working on mine as well with new tools I have. Here's the rotating platform. Here's the PCB. And again, I can pick components up and place them where they are needed. Good luck, folks. Let me know what you think of the video. I'm not very good at these tutorials, but I hope they have been useful to you. Thanks again.